We're heading back to the main stage as play draws to a close here on day 2. Action folded to Johnny Lodden in the small blind. 8-10 offsuit.
Sure, why not?
He raises. Ziv Bachar recently joined the feature table. And he will re-raise with King-Queen.
It's a very small 3-bet. With King-Queen, it doesn't really work as a value raise or as a bluff.
Lodden calls.
So Bachar's done something pretty interesting here with this tiny 3-bet pre-flop.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really ever see this sort of micro 3-bet. I think it's pretty sexy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's ever expecting Lodden to fold. So that is one issue. It keeps Lodden's entire range in the hand, which is one major downside here because Lodden is difficult to play against. He's a tricky player.
Yeah.
A lot of bonuses, though. I mean, it's going to screw your opponent up a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, what's Lodden supposed to do? He can't really 4-bet except with the top of his range, I guess, and maybe the bottom, but it's hard. And although he's going to call, he's going to be out of position in an inflated pot. And Bachar knows that he's destroying Lodden's range with King-Queen here.
Right, I like it.
I like just calling with King-Queen, then you don't give away the fact that you have a pretty good hand.
So Lodden out of position. But flops 2 pair. Bachar's up and down.
Check.
Lodden checks.
He wants Bachar to continue at this oh so hard.
Bachar bets his straight draw, 9,500.
Johnny could raise here, or he could just call and raise a good turn.
The only interesting thing about this flop play, I would say, is Lodden's decision to just call with bottom 2 on a somewhat wet board. I mean, there's only one. I mean, it's a rainbow flop, but still, there's 3 cards to a straight out there, essentially.
At this point, Bachar's c-bet is pretty much mandatory based on how well he flopped and him having position and everything involved in the hand. Lodden's just call here is very interesting in that a lot of the times he can check raise, but I think he wants to try to get value in a different way here. He wants to not blow his opponent off his hand in a 3-bet pot.
He does just call with 2 pair. The turn card is the deuce of clubs.
That is a good turn.
Johnny checks a second time.
And I do think Bachar has to keep betting. He's got a really strong draw, and he can rep an overpair after the pre-flop 3-bet.
This time he fires 19,500. No check raise from Johnny, he just calls.
Now, while the flop bet I thought was a good bet and mostly mandatory by Bachar, I'm not a big fan of this turn bet. The main reason here being he's bloating the pot when he doesn't yet have a hand, and it seems pretty clear that Lodden is calling with most of his range on this turn card.
I would say the only really good reason for Bachar to be betting here is to continue the story that he's telling. So, because it looks like Lodden is ranged to a 1-pair hand, although he doesn't actually have that. So Bachar could be trying to set up, if he doesn't actually improve on the river, a big river bluff.
Right, but if he checks, he can just get a free card and improve massively, and he doesn't have to worry about getting check raised by a very active player.
True. One of the downsides is when he improves, it's hard to get a lot of value.
True.
I think a lot of folks do raise there. And if you raise the turn, it makes leading the river make more sense.
3 of clubs, the board bricks out for Bachar. Johnny going for value. He leads for 28,500.
Should be a pretty easy fold with King High. But
oh, he's bluffing. He raises to 65k.
Risky raise, and that he's kind of only repping flushes and nothings. I think it's hard to rep a flush after this line.
Johnny is a non-believer. He calls.
And he is right.
And that is a big pot. More than 200k in the middle, and it's coming Lodden's way.
First curious decision is Lodden's decision to play out of flow and bet out here.
Right. I think it's a good decision. I think he's just trying to not miss out on value that he may have missed out on earlier by not check raising.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time Bachar's going to check back his 1-pair of hands here unless he has a hand as strong as aces or top or something like that.
Which he could have. Those are in his range. Mm-hmm. Now, he's kind of counting on Lodden putting Bachar on the top of his range here because he raises.
Yes.
And this is a big high variance play, and it makes a little bit of sense. And what Bachar is thinking, and I think this is mostly based on Lodden's sizing, is that Lodden has like a minimal showdownable hand, something like 9-10 or 8-9, something that was a pair and a straight draw. And now he's trying to get value out of ace highs and pairs that are under the 8.
Yeah, I think Bachar's making an expert play in a spot where Lodden's hand has been underrepresented the whole way, and so Bachar just can't know that Lodden has 2 pair here, and it just isn't going to fold very often, even though there's 3 clubs.
It's a bit unlucky for Bachar.
Yeah, also, the river card being a 3rd club, when he raises now polarizes his range a bit more, and it's more likely that he's got the nut flush if he's going to have anything when he raises, which is just not, there's just not many combos of those cards.
Right.